Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. We are going to be talking about chapters 13, 14, and 15 of Quicksand by Nella Larson tonight. And it'll
How
probably
exciting.
and it'll probably be a short-ish stream because Dana is exhausted. But other than exhausted, don't let me speak for you. Dana, how are you?
Other than exhausted.
Did I just take everything away? Is there nothing else to say?
You took it. You took everything. Steve. You took everything from me. Weary. Uninspired. Yeah, I think I told you that's the other reason this is likely to be a short stream.
Right.
And she doesn't complain. She doesn't get disillusioned. I was so ready for her to be like, oh, I hate you all again. This sucks.
Right.
And yeah, that didn't happen. I mean, oops, sorry, spoilers.
Spoilers for this 80-year-old book, please.
Well, it's not spoilers. We're not at the end yet. So
that's right.
Especially as we start getting toward the end of chapter 15, midway through chapter 15, she starts getting disillusioned. She's not happy with her aunt. I'm jumping the gun. Anyway,
and
so
you're like,
how was your week?
My week was good. My week, I spent most of it, as you know, editing and writing. Yeah, go figure. Who would have thought?
Big surprise there.
I know. But I didn't. I went in front of the camera, other than for live streams, of course. I went in front of the camera earlier today to shoot my video from Monday.
Ooh.
And I finished the script for next week's Wednesday video before I finished the one for the Monday video, because that's just kind of the order that I had them in my head. And that'll be a best Batman ever about the Adam West Batman, which I'm really looking forward to. But I haven't shot that one yet. I'll probably shoot that one tomorrow. And then so I can have time to edit it between then and Wednesday. But yeah, I mean the writing went good. The Batman one took...
So jealous. I hate you.
Well, I think if you were foolish enough to put yourself in a position where you had to write in order to eat, you might find it easier to write more. The wolf at the door is great motivation. But
necessity is the mother of invention and all that good stuff.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, so I'm happy with what I've written. I started. Actually, I got a good bit done also, because after I finished the writing, and then I knew I didn't want to shoot the video until a particular time of day today. So while I was having time available, I went ahead and started writing the next couple of videos. And so I got...
Look at you go.
I didn't finish it, but I got a lot done on the next Ask a Professional YouTuber, and I know where that's going. And then not next week, but the week after next is another Trek Actually video, and I started that script, and that still has like a long way to go, but at least I got the first maybe page of it down. So
week after next.
Yeah.
Show off. You just, with all that extra time, you could just spend that polishing your award.
Yeah, but I mean, I never would have got it if that was my attitude.
That's true. That's so true, Steve. Wait.
Oh, please.
You know what, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're off to the races.
Jay, you're right, too. Eating is very important.
Eating is
so important.
It's one of the most important things you can do. I mean, maybe that's a hot take, but I really truly believe that.
How's that a hot take? Eating is so important.
Or I guess if it's leftovers, it might be a cold take, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's,
That was terrible, and you should be ashamed.
But I'm not.
That just shows what kind of person you are, Steve.
I'm not ashamed of the joke, and I'm not ashamed of eating the leftovers. Although I did have leftovers for one meal yesterday, and I did heat it up. I did not have them cold. So, I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, but what are you going to do?
Just this much.
Just just a teensy little hypocrite.
Just a weeny bit.
Yeah.
So,
But, yeah.
if folks were, ooh, that sounds really, like I've literally already eaten and that still sounds really good. Oh,
That does sound good. Ooh. Just the name souffle pancakes sounds like, ooh, really?
Flour
And then
berry and maple
berry
compote.
and maple compote and ricotta.
I love the trilled R there.
I know, because it doesn't really go there. It's not ricotta. It's, if anything, it would just be like a single drill, like a ricotta. It wouldn't be like
And the long O too, ricotta.
ricotta.
Hey. So yeah. I think Wednesday I had a really close day.
Yeah.
And Thursday went significantly better. Wait, Wednesday was a...
Well, yesterday was pretty rough too, I remember. So today, I think you told me today went better.
No, yesterday was mostly a...
No, Wednesday, I remember Wednesday was rough because, but then when you got home, you were feeling
like,
better.
We can I'm like, no, I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, is there teaching in it?
I just can't do that this week, man. I just can't do it.
It's bad. It was a good episode. No, Thursday the students were better, but then my planning period was challenging. Because I had asked about having a guest speaker come.
Yes.
And just a state official. And the principal came by to make sure I wasn't going to take him off.
Yes, because God forbid a citizen say anything to quote unquote tick off an elected representative, right?
Hey, schools are pretty much run by the state government, not like the state. I mean, they are run by the state, but that's the level of government in America that they're run by.
Yes.
So, and he is, a major part of that. So, yeah.
But he's also he's also a Republican, so he's going to cut school funding any chance he gets anyway.
Actually, no. He has been he's been one of, I don't know one of how many, right. But he when the Georgia governor, the person who's now the Georgia governor ran for office, part of his platform was teacher raises. And I remember thinking, but you don't do that. That's not up to you. That's up to the legislature.
The governor doesn't have the power to do that.
I mean, the most you can do is say, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'll sign that."
Yeah, you can suggest
not veto it.
Yeah, you can sign
it. He did encourage the legislature to do that, but the guy who, and he's been to my classroom, not this classroom, but he's talked to my students.
Yeah, this is your senator, right?
Yes, state senator.
Your state senator.
And I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, obviously, I mean, I wasn't planning to take him off, but I mean, I have opinions. Yeah.
I didn't know that about
and you ain't been paying attention, dude. And I don't like lying. So that's a thing. And so we kind of discussed that and came up with some alternatives. So I'm going to have some local members of local city and county government are going to hopefully form a panel. But I got asked if, considering that I am very, very much a Democrat.
Indeed. Big D. Because hopefully we are all small d Democrats, but you are a big D Democrat, among other things. Among other things. Say other things that are maybe other things that are maybe a little further over on the shelf, next to Democrat, but further over, you know.
Significantly further over.
Yes, indeed.
Next to things that are next to things that are next to things that are next to maybe some Democrats that are further over than other Democrats.
Indeed.
So, and so anyway, I was asked, I was informed that our representative at the federal level has expressed interest in coming and visiting the schools, and how would I feel about having her visit my classroom? And I said she would be welcome in my classroom. She's a member of the government. I also have different views than her, but I would, she could come into my classroom.
And I believe we have a clip.
Oh yeah.
As to how that might go.
I wouldn't be unkind.
Of course not. Of course not.
No. But like I said, I don't believe in lying. And I also believe in forthrightness. So,
Shall we roll the clip?
I thought you did, dude.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't. Well, you didn't give me a clear cue. We didn't agree on what the cue was. I'm gonna play it now. Okay,
I thought you just understood.
We should. This is why we need to do more rehearsal for these live streams. This is a clip to illustrate what might happen when Dana's congressional representative comes to visit her classroom.
We're to help the little hurt one.
So you can all come to your own conclusions as to which role is represented,
by which character.
But yes. So
as a matter of fact,
are you going to queue up the live stream real quick so you can see it?
Nope, I was wrong.
What did?
I was trying to remember when Sigourney Weaver's birthday is, but it's not anywhere near mine. Not remotely. Hers is October 8th. I was like, oh, okay, not.
Oh well.
So I hope your channel doesn't get a strike for copyright violation.
I was just going to point out that clip was used in the context of commentary.
Yes, we were definitely commenting.
And it was an illustration in an abstract sense
of a hypothetical real life situation.
Yes,
that has
indeed.
Not happened. Probably is unlikely to happen.
So it was used in a transformative contest as a quotation, as an illustration, and
fair use.
We have a good faith belief that obviously no copyright infringement was intended, and we believe no copyright infringement was committed. Thank you very much.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you're a member of Congress, if she does come visit your school, the nice thing is she's got plenty of time on her hands to do that, because it's not like she's going to have to blow off a committee meeting.
I'm sure she would never do such a thing.
Of course not. Well, she won't have to, which is the beautiful part. Yeah.
So yeah. On the other hand, I don't think that offer was made in any seriousness whatsoever, because I think what my principal wants from me is to not get us on the news in a bad way. And I think there's honest fear that might happen.
Well, I will not say anything further about your principal while we are on the air, because I think you know my feelings about the subject, and I would not wish to say anything that, even though it wouldn't be you saying it, I would not want to say anything inflammatory that you would then be associated with that you would have to catch flack for.
Yeah,
So
can you like not?
I will be silent on the subject.
So, but I will say that my principal was very helpful in coming up with an alternate idea. So,
yep,
we're gonna go with that.
Yep. I'm just not going to say anything.
Let's talk about the book, Steve.
I have absolutely nothing to say about any
book?
of this. Oh, about the book. Yes, I have tons to say about the book. Let's talk about the book. Let's talk about
the book.
Let's talk about chapter 13 of Quicksand by Nella Larson. You like Danishes?
Yeah.
You like there's a lot of Danish in these chapters, isn't there?
Though?
This is full of Danish. So yeah, we're going to start with chapter 13, and as you know, if you've been reading along with us or watching the other episodes of the stream up to this point, Helga has moved from New York to live with her aunt and uncle in Copenhagen in Denmark.
And they're rich, you guys. They're really,
so
really,
rich.
really rich.
They're so rich, and guess what? Helga really likes it.
Surprise.
She really likes living with her rich relatives. There are parts
who
of
just
it
buy her things. Like, she's uncomfortable with it at first, but then she gets used to it and she's like, okay, nice things.
That's just what I was going to say. Like, there are parts of it when she first moves, and when she first moves in with them, that she feels a little uncomfortable with. But yeah, she gets over that real quick. And actually this is a really nice, the first paragraph of the chapter is a really nice summary of her character.
Go for it.
It says, so this is the beginning of chapter 13. She's in Copenhagen now, and it reads, "She liked it, this new life. For a time, it blotted from her mind all else. She took to luxury as the proverbial duck to water, and she took to admiration and attention even more eagerly." So there you go. That's Helga for you. She's like, oh, I could get used to this. Right?
I am used to this. This is nothing more than my due.
This is what I've been waiting for my whole life. It goes on a little bit, I think in the next paragraph there. Yeah, it says that actually she realizes that because she's been worried about money. You know, she wants to have money, and then she realizes, oh no, it's not the money I want. It's the stuff.
It's all the things that money can get you.
It's the things.
I don't, because like money means having to think about money. And she doesn't want to do that. She just wants to be so rich that she has people to take care of the money for her, and she can just go and say, oh, can I have that please? And they say, oh, of course, yes, madame. And she gets it. Or excuse me, mademoiselle. And she gets it. And
Yes,
she takes it home. And then they send the bill to her accountant. Her accountant handles everything. And she just goes and, says, I'd like this, please. And they say, yes, mademoiselle. That's it.
And she doesn't have to dirty her hands with it. It's for the common folk.
Pecuniary concerns.
Yeah. Oh, good word. There are some really good. By the way, don't we get a couple of really great vocabulary words? I think in this chapter, don't we get impecuniary?
Maybe that's why I came up with that.
I think or no, come on. I'm sure that word was in your vocabulary already.
No. I mean, that may have been why it came to why it was. Yeah.
It was locked and loaded.
I don't know that I noticed the vocabulary as much, although of course that makes me think of Taylor Molly here.
I'm scanning the chapter notes to see if I know it was either chapter 13 or chapter 14, but there was a particular passage that had a very noticeable, very just sort of significant word choice, and it was like showing off the vocab.
Yeah, this is from I Could Be a Poet. And the vocabulary words: Glaconian, dystemic, Irrepsentalia, thrown in to remind you I am a writer. Eat my verbal dust. Oh, God, it's so good. It's so good. You should find, since I have now talked about this poem, it's so much fun. It is so much fun. It does have you, it does have an F-bomb in it. And
Oh my God.
like that so much. Yeah, since you like that so much, you should drop a link to it in the description once we're done.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm only familiar with Taylor Molly because of you, and every video clip of him that you've sent me, I've really enjoyed. But I couldn't find the vocabulary word I was thinking of, but maybe as we go through, it'll pop out at me again. But yeah, so what's going on in chapter 13 is she's in Copenhagen and she's settled in, and her Aunt Katrina comes to her room to tell her that they are going to tea. And you need to find something you're going to wear because we're going out to tea and you need to wear something nice. And no, don't wear that dress you picked out. That's too plain. She picked out this dress. She's like, well, would this be okay? And Aunt Katrina's like, come on, wear something
for
fancy.
Someone ordinary, perhaps, but not for you, dear.
Yeah, you need to wear something. Yeah.
You need something as striking and unique as you are. Something exotic and flamboyant. Something that is luxurious and luxuriant and sensuous. And exotic.
And colorful, not in a racist way. Colorful.
No, but something that draws attention, something bold.
Yes.
And flashy, but not gauche, of course.
No,
dear.
of course not. We're with the utmost taste, but yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. So they pick something out from the closet for her to wear, and then, but there's also going to be, there's going to be a party later that night. And so Aunt Katrina's like, you need to wear something for that too. And, you know, there's...
Yeah, you can't wear the same thing, dear, twice in a row.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the same evening. You must come home and change and then go out again.
And they decide that there's a dress. I think is it one of Aunt Katrina's dresses? But there's a green dress that they decide would suit Helga, but needs to be cut down to her size and altered a little bit to make it a little bit more spectacular. But the housekeeper or somebody is going to take care of that, like while they're out, and then she'll and then she,
and you know what that made me think of when she wore the dress that was just too much back in Harlem.
Oh yes.
And now like she's like, what about this one? And her aunt's like, no, dear, you need something that's more too much. Big.
Yeah, and so they go to tea, and the first thing Helga notices about tea is that they ain't drinking tea. They're drinking coffee, which is fine.
But it's tea.
But it's not, they don't call it going out for coffee. They call it going out for tea. Okay. It's Denmark. I guess that's just the way they are here. They're just weird like that.
They're just weird.
You know? But I think it's probably just just one of the little ways that, you know, they have to just really stick it to the Brits. You know, like we know no matter how we do our tea, you're going to have something to complain about. So we're going to call it tea, but we're not even going to have tea there. What do you think of that? We're going to drink coffee. That's what we think of you.
We will have tiny sandwiches and cakes.
Oh, and who doesn't love tiny sandwiches and cakes? And apparently the Danish.
You know who? You know who?
Who?
Frodo. That's me.
I thought he just can't enjoy anything anymore.
That's why he has to leave
He's
at the end. That's the example of character development. He is a dynamic character.
He's such a mope. He can't even enjoy little tiny sandwiches.
Look, okay, I mean, yeah, but that's not as bad as not being able to enjoy potatoes.
No, but no, absolutely. I'm having potatoes for dinner tonight. It's how could you not enjoy potatoes?
By
I
by having to carry the burden of the One Ring, obviously.
yeah, sure.
Did you
Yeah.
not pay attention at all? Do you
Um,
need to watch those movies
I
again?
know. Oh God, no. I do remember that Frodo jumping on the boat and going off into the whatever lands was one of the 18 endings to that movie. And it was
18?
one of the times where I was like, "Oh, okay, so this is going to be the ending." Oh no, it's still going. Okay, no, wait. Okay, no, okay, but
and
this
then,
here.
and then they have the director's cut. You know what happens? You know what happens after that in the director's cut?
Oh God, what?
This pink bunny with a big drum comes on.
Yes. I mean, come on. Like, I think we talked about it at the time.
They say he's an elf. He's an elf.
His ears are like this. Yeah. I think I know I talked about it with you at the time, and I definitely mentioned it with me and Jason on our movie podcast because we reviewed Return of the King last year. The first and last time I will ever watch it in my life. And I said when everybody else bows down to the hobbits, that's the ending. And I believe that is the first of the never-ending cavalcade of endings, or at least one of the first scenes that feels like it has a finality that could be the ending of the movie. That's the ending. They've come, it's like the little humble hobbits that nobody respected. Now they are the heroes who have saved the world, and all the mighty elves and humans and everybody are bowing down to them. Credits. That's the end of the movie. It goes on for like 20 more minutes. Go ahead.
But in the books, Steve.
Oh God. Yes, of course. We mustn't let any page of the book go unadapted, for surely that is the highest expression of the filmmaker's art, to just take what was written in the fucking book and just put it on screen, whether it makes any sense at all or not.
Speaking of the book, Steve,
yes, the book by which you mean Quicksand. That was gorgeous. That was absolutely splendid.
We should as we say in our Socratic seminars, let's return to the text.
Ah, nice.
It's like it's one of the things that they can fill out on their little sheet. So like anytime a student notices somebody has said something that's like tangentially related but not actually directly related, they'll be like, "Oh, I want to return to the text," and they're like, "Okay, I've said my thing. I can stop now. I don't have to do anything else." Like,
Let's get this train back on the track. What do you say? So yeah,
So Helga loves being the center of attention and having nice things.
Oh,
big
yes.
surprise.
Weird how that works. You wouldn't have expected that. But yeah, so they go to coffee or tea, excuse me. I don't know what possessed me to call it coffee just now. And she's like the center of attention. And yeah, at first she's a little weirded out by it because she's literally the center of attention and the only topic of conversation. But eventually she gets used to it and she's like, actually, this ain't so bad. And then she goes back home and she gets dressed and they have their party, and she mentions how she's dressed differently than the other people at the party. It's not just that she has obviously been dressed to be like the showpiece of the party, right? It says, like, she says that she's more uncovered than other women there, and her dress is much more noticeable and much more stylish, and just it's like they got her new earrings and a beaded necklace, and it's like this just, she's just absolutely tricked out, and she's, and it says and everybody is completely just fawning over her. It says the women were too kind, and it says, to them, this girl, Helga Crane, this mysterious niece of the dolls, was not to be reckoned seriously in their scheme of things. True, she was attractive, unusual, in an exotic, almost savage way, but she wasn't one of them. She didn't at all count. And it brings to mind
She's a curiosity.
exactly. And it brings to mind something that Jay in the chat pointed out a little bit ago, using the phrase accepted but not equal. And you definitely get that impression that everybody's very nice to her, and everybody is very accommodating, and especially her aunt and uncle are very generous and very giving and take care of her. And, she generally speaking is having a good time, but you definitely get the impression that she's looked at as like a zoo animal.
Yeah, she's very othered.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she decides, she's like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. She said, actually, this isn't so bad.
Yeah, she's good.
It's like
for now.
It's like that Twilight Zone episode where it turns out that they're in an alien zoo. And it's like, yeah, you're in an alien zoo, but it's a nice house. Like, I mean, am I wrong to say that? Like, yeah, you're going to be held captive, and aliens are going to come along and look in your front window and examine you like some kind of specimen, but it's a nice house. Come on. Anyway, that's Helga in chapter 13. Now, in chapter 14, and I should also mention, one of the people she meets at the party in chapter 13 is this guy named Axel Olson, who is a painter, and a very prestigious painter, the kind of painter that if he decides he wants to paint your portrait, it's a big deal. It's not to be looked on lightly, because he's a painter of distinction. And of course, he wants to paint Helga. Of
course.
And
as one does.
And her aunt and uncle are like, because it's like, oh, the famous painter.
It's like, yeah, they've scored.
Yeah, it reflects on them, And it says Helga's own feelings were mixed. She was amused, grateful, and vexed. It had all been decided and arranged without her. And also, she was a little afraid of Olson. His stupendous arrogance awed her. So this was all sort of arranged that, Axel says he wants to paint you, so he's going to paint you. Isn't that nice? And like, they didn't even ask her if she was cool with it or if she wanted to. They were just like, this is great. This is going to happen. This is a good thing. You're going to do this. And she's like, okay.
Okay.
We also get this description from how the people in the city regard her. And I thought this was a really, this line jumped out at me. It says, it conveyed to Helga her exact status in her new environment: a decoration, a curio, a peacock. And I just love that image of she's a peacock. She's this exotic, as you said earlier, she's this exotic bird, like strutting through the town, and everybody turns to look, and they're happy to see it. They're not angry that the bird is there. They're wondered by it. They think it maybe is beautiful or fascinating, but it's definitely not like them. And it seems
and
out
it never
of place.
will be.
Yeah, exactly. So they go shopping, and there are these almost like, as I was reading it, it struck me the description, and there was a little bit of this in the previous chapter too, but there's a lot of it in this, where she's going shopping for clothes and jewelry and stuff, and we get a lot of description of what she's looking at and what she's buying, and it struck me that it's almost like it's like the high class version of the Cratchit's Christmas dinner scene in A Christmas Carol, where so much of that scene is description of the food.
Yes.
And it's amazing. It's probably my favorite scene in the entire book. Not just for that, because the scene goes on for a really long time, but a lot of it, especially early on, is description of the food and how everything looks and smells and tastes, and how it's like the greatest feast that they've had all year, and and this scene is like it's the high class version of that, because the Cratchits are very poor, and yet they have this wonderful feast for Christmas, and Helga is in the company of extremely well-to-do people, and it's like you get this sumptuous description of all of these things that are being bought for her and placed on her. And it's like, oh, it's if the Cratchits were rich. Like that was immediately where my mind went. Yeah, it's quite lush.
Yes. It's very purple.
Oh God, yes. Oh yes, definitely. The voice definitely carries through. I mean, that very sort of almost overwrought way of writing. And we also get in this point, and this is important because this is one of those things that we see start to turn in the next chapter. We learn that Helga is like just so completely over America, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's just like completely, she's like, how, there's a line in here where she's like, how could I have ever possibly thought that I should stay in America and get married and have kids? How crazy is it that I thought I was going to have kids in the United States? Like,
how bourgeois.
Yeah. Well, and not just that, but like, cause she she specifically ties it to her blackness and saying like, how could I have ever considered having kids in America where they mistreat black people just for being black? Like how is it right to bring children into that kind of a world when you know that that's what's waiting for them? And of course she isn't really thinking about having kids here either, but
she ain't thinking much at all. Let's be honest.
Not really. Not really.
We're getting married, which is the point that coincidentally gets brought up.
Indeed,
although
it does.
Brought up in this chapter. What chapter are we on?
Next chapter. We're still in 14, but yeah. So this chapter is mostly dedicated to just showing us what her life is like in Copenhagen, how she spends her days. We're told that when she's not hanging out with her aunt and her uncle, or going to a party or going to a tea where they drink coffee, she spends her days just sort of exploring the city.
Going for walks, and her aunt's like, "We can get you a carriage, dear," and she's like, "But aunt, if I don't walk, I'll get fat."
Yes, because they eat so much. That's one of the other things that she points out that is a big difference for her, especially her life in Harlem, that she was living right before she left. Is that, I mean, they have parties and lunches and dinners like almost every day. And all they do at them is tea, yeah, and all they do is eat, and that's where the little sandwiches come in. They have these, the Danes apparently love these little sandwiches of many different varieties, and
they're all so tempting.
And they're everywhere.
And they're excellent dancers, but they don't dance. Which I'm not sure how that works.
I love that detail. How do you get
really good at doing something if you don't do it? I don't know.
I loved that detail. She meant, yeah, they're great dancers, but they have very little interest in dancing, which is just such a fascinating, detail. And it's like, apparently when they have parties, all they want to do is just hang out and eat. They're like, dance, whatever, I'm going to eat.
Sounds like my kind of party.
It's, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I like dancing too.
Yes, of course. Well, you'd have the floor to yourself, apparently.
Get down, get down.
Dun, 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 dun. But this life can't last forever because
Helga has to get tired of it. That's the way the story goes.
Well, that's true.
Right?
That's true. I think that's the actual answer, but Aunt Katrina has her own ideas about that because, Helga is 25. She's practically an old maid. It's time that she got married.
She's got one foot in the grave already.
25.
Her eggs are going to shrivel up and dry up inside her body and then come cascading out of her like a bunch of raisins.
That is actually how it happens, I'm given to understand. So, I mean.
Yeah, I learned that from men, guys.
That's how they
explained it to me.
That's what they told us at Sunday school.
I thought you learned it from your man friends and then explained it to us lady
I did.
folks.
I learned it from my pals in 5th grade. And then passed it.
Was it at Boy Scouts or was it at the hunting lodge?
I was never a Boy Scout because, you know.
I know, genius. That was the whole. Have I missed something? Have we not been being sarcastic?
Do you know my dad was a Boy Scout?
I am not surprised.
And why are you not surprised?
Does your dad like hunting?
He does like hunting.
Does he like beer?
And fishing. And beer. Oh, yes.
Like he ticks all the boxes, dude.
Okay. But
you're the odd man out in your family.
Why is man in quotes?
Because your dad and Danny are both like manly men. Danny's building his own house.
He is. Yes, that's true.
That's
my brother.
Like a super manly thing to do.
Well, I mean, he's not building it all
now,
all by himself.
In fairness, you wear a baseball cap a lot.
Manly.
And you drive a truck.
Manly.
Also manly. However,
yes,
you have the truck because it was like handed down to you.
Yes, it was.
And you're frugal.
Yes. That's true.
You did you soup it up?
Oh God, no. But as you said, it was handed down to me father to son, so also manly. Also, I'd like to point out, I have a beard, and my mustache connects to the rest of my beard, like a real man. So, there's that as well.
Is it long enough that you can have a comb stick in it?
Not at present, but only because I keep it that way on purpose, because I like to appear neat and civilized, not like some kind of, grotesque mountain person. So I don't grow it like, and also, I mean, I'm not a magician. I don't need to produce coins out of it. I mean, it looks nice, so, and looking nice.
Kind of, you keep it neat and trimmed. It seems kind of cosmopolitan there.
I don't know about that. I am wearing a Bryan Danielson t-shirt. I mean, I don't know how cosmopolitan that is. And wearing a hat with a patch on that I sewed on myself. Very manly.
Sewing ain't manly, dude.
Do they give a merit badge for it in the Boy Scouts?
I don't know. I was never a Boy Scout either.
I'll tell you what they do give. They give one out in the Man Scouts. Man Scout sounds like a gay thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, I'm no judgment here. I know, because absolutely not. No, nor would there ever be. But it just occurred to me, like, wait a minute, Man Scouts. That sounds.
that sounds like what they do on, what is it, Tinder?
It sounds like a men's magazine that I'm sure would be absolutely lovely, but probably not to my personal taste.
Well, come on, man. It's a magazine. Do you get any magazines?
I don't. Who gets magazines anymore? When was the last time you touched a magazine when you weren't in a doctor's office? And by the way, when was the last time that you touched a magazine in a doctor's office? Don't you just look on your phone if you're bored when you're waiting for the doctor?
I'm a teacher, Steve. Probably 2 weeks ago in the library. And you know what? I get the magazines from doctor's office so that I can have a stash of them so that we can use them for collages for projects in my classroom.
Because that's right. You like cannibalize them for school projects. Yeah. You know what? I knew that and I forgot about that.
Yep.
Do you know what we should do?
That reminds me, I should, dang it. I went to the doctor, although that was just for lab work. I don't think I saw any magazines in that office, but I need to next week be like, hey, y'all, get your if you got magazines that you are on the way out, I need to call them and on Monday because they're not open. I mean, over the weekend.
Jay in the chat says, hey, that's cool about your hat. Yeah, thank you. I did. I just got a plain black fitted hat and then I sewed the NASA patch on myself. It took me 4 hours.
He is such a hat snob.
And that is not, and by the way, go ahead. Such
a hat snob. Oh no, we can't have ones that have the adjustable hats. Oh no. It has to be fitted to his head.
That's right. You know who wear? Do you know who wears adjustable hats instead of fitted hats? You know who wears those? Dana, do you know what kind of person wears those hats? Rednecks. And you know what I'm not? You know what I'm not? No
Steve,
judgment. No judgment.
Steve.
Yes.
Oh, there was judgment there.
I don't think so.
Oh yes, because you know what I have several of hanging up over there.
You're going to say an adjustable hat, aren't you?
No, not one adjustable hat, not an adjustable hat.
Multiple adjustable hats. But you have, but can I try to dig myself out of this?
Oh, you can try.
Jay in the chat, the Helga Crane of baseball caps. Thank you very much. It makes sense for you to have an adjustable hat. And I think you know why. Because the adjustable hat, because it has the adjustable loop in the back and the space where that can open or close to adjust the size, you can pull your ponytail through that. So it's functional for you. And not just for you, for anyone with long hair. Long hair, which,
rednecks.
huh?
And for rednecks.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, most people with really long hair, they're not rednecks because it protects their neck from the sun.
It was well done. I did not see that coming, and I should have.
Got one by you. Got one by you.
See,
just painted the corner with that outside fastball.
A clever, witty saying, I acknowledge it. You complain so often because I don't give you one. Well, I don't give you one. I acknowledge it.
Because you are what
you don't
is...
need me to give you one. You are perfectly capable of coming up with good material on your own.
Thank you. I see. That's the occasionally where we disagree there, I think.
Anyway, can we go back to the book?
I was just going to say, you know what we should do? We should return to the text.
We should return to the text.
We should return to the text. So they start saying that Helga should get herself married, and apparently they're what?
She should just get
herself go get yourself married, Helga.
Usually, Steve, come on. That sort of language is reserved for pregnancy.
And I love it. In my head, these Danes are speaking like people from West Virginia now. Got to go get yourself married is what you need to do. Go get yourself a husband.
In chapter 15. Oh, God.
Get yourself a husband, Helga. I mean, goddamn, you're 25. Anyway, so yeah, they start throwing out these candidates. There's a guy named Captain
I ain't just spitting out babies yet.
Yeah.
Y'all have 4 or 5 of them by now.
Who's going to take care of you when you're old? That's what I want to know. Ain't going to have nobody move in with when you get old. He's just going to put you in a home. Fuck.
God, please.
Are you saying that for Helga or for yourself? Please, somebody put me in a home.
For whoever is talking to that person.
Just yeah, put me in a home. Great. Don't visit me. Just please.
Put me in a home. Can you put me in one now?
Can you put me in one? Is there one like really far away? Like on the other side of a mountain, maybe?
Oh, I was thinking the world. Do they have those in Kazakhstan?
Is there like a whole like a retirement home in the middle of the Indian Ocean? Is there like an island where they have one? I'll go there. I hear
Portugal is very nice.
Portugal?
I'm kidding, but I'm absolutely not.
I'm sure Portugal is lovely.
You know, it's on both the Atlantic and the Mediterranean.
I'm sure Portugal is lovely.
And I speak Portuguese.
You do?
Not well, but I would learn better if I was there. I could practice more.
Immersion.
I've thought it through.
You clearly
know, the only thing is, you know what Portugal doesn't have?
What?
Disney World.
How far is it? Where's Euro Disney in Paris?
Yeah.
That's pretty far away.
Yeah, but they've got trains.
That's true. I wonder how long the train takes to take you from Portugal to Disney. It used to be Euro Disney. Now it's Disney
Used to be
World
Disney.
Paris,
Now
right?
it's Disneyland Paris.
Disneyland Paris. Yeah. I'm sure.
Okay, so sum up chapter 15 while I'm looking this up.
Okay. So anyway, chapter 14 ends with and by the way, Jay points out in the chat, her aunt and uncle don't want to have to pay for her anymore. Maybe I had the same thought that they're like, maybe you should get married, huh? Move in with your husband instead of live with us. But yeah, chapter 14 is, hey, you should get married. And they start throwing out potential candidates for husbands. And Helga's not really into that. She's like, and she tries to weasel out of it by saying, well, I don't really believe in mixed marriages, because I'm black and all you Danish people are white. And it's it's not fair to the kids, and it's, people look at you differently, and it's just, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have a mixed marriage. And her aunt and uncle are not really receptive to that, because they're like, we don't have racism here. But yeah. So, but also it seems that since they're talking about marriage, nobody comes out and says it yet, not in this chapter, but Herr Olson, the painter, is apparently kind of into her, and aunt and uncle are sort of pushing Helga in that direction, saying, hey, there's like there's a concert tonight that, maybe he wants to take you to. Maybe you should go with him. What do you say? So that's where we end in chapter 14. And in chapter 15, we pick up where Helga has been in Denmark for well over a year now. It says we are well into her second year. And it says, well into Helga's second year in Denmark came an indefinite discontent. Here we go.
Steve?
Yes, Dana?
Are you surprised?
Not at all. In fact, when I read this today, I was like, oh, okay, there it is.
There we go.
Because I think we said last time, we said, will she make it a whole chapter before she gets sick of it? She made it two chapters.
She made it 2 full chapters.
And she's not totally sick of it yet. She's not totally sick of it yet. This is a slower process. She hasn't completely, lost interest or lost all appeal for Denmark. But it's like, we've seen this before. It's starting to happen, it's happening a little slower, because it says it's an indefinite discontent. She can't put her finger on it yet. She's not quite sure what it is, but there's just something about this place that doesn't seem as nice as it used to. But she's aware of it now. She's catching it as it happens. And this is interesting, because this is the first time that we've seen any sort of hint of introspection from her.
Yeah.
It says in the second paragraph of chapter 15, it says, frankly, the question came to this: what was the matter with her? Was there, without her knowing it, some peculiar lack in her? Absurd. But she began to have a feeling of discouragement and hopelessness. Why couldn't she be happy, content, somewhere? Other people managed somehow to be. To put it plainly, didn't she know how? Was she incapable of it? So she's having these thoughts of, maybe it's me, which I think is important for her character. And also, I think it answers the question that we wondered about throughout the book up to this point, which is the author aware of how Helga comes across? And now I think the answer is clearly yes. Helga and the author are not one and the same. The author does have more, even though I think Helga and Nella Larson are very similar, and that I think Helga is, and I think most interpretations of the novel that I've read have said that, Helga is basically a version of Nella from some point in her life. But there is a degree of awareness of Helga being self-absorbed and fickle that she, as the character, doesn't quite have about herself, but that the author has about her. So I think that's noteworthy as well. But even though she's asking these questions, and she's sort of slowly coming to this realization
Very slow.
Yeah, of gee, maybe it's me. She's still not quite there yet, and she kind of shrugs that off. She's like, "Oh, maybe it's me, but I don't know, maybe not, whatever." Because the thing is, she has other stuff to worry about. First of all, her old friend Anne, who she lived with back in Harlem, remember, is getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting married to, wouldn't you know it, to Robert Anderson. What's the story there? How'd they hook up? They weren't a thing when she left. How'd that even happen? That's so weird. But yeah, I think remember that Anne really hated his last girlfriend because she went around with white people. So I think what probably happened was Anne killed her and then just kind of took her place. I think that's probably what happened.
As one does.
As one does. So yes, so they're getting married, and she got a letter saying, "Hey, we're getting married. Come back to America and come to the wedding." And Helga's like, "Yeah, right." She's like, "I'm not going back to America. I hate America because America hates me. America hates black people. I'm a black people. I'm not going back to America. To hell with America. No way I'm going back to America." And by the end of the chapter, she's like, "Maybe I'll go back to America." Because that's just the way things go with Helga, but she's not quite there yet. Because what happens in between the beginning of the chapter and the end is the great painter Herr Olson pops the question. They've been they've been seeing, they saw each other a lot when he was painting her portrait, and they have, seen each other socially here and there. Right. And she could tell that he was kind of into her, and she, liked him. Right. But wasn't like thinking of him that way. And then all of a sudden he's like, "You want to get married?" And there was actually, she mentions a time when he was painting her portrait, when he made a suggestion to her that she thought might have been hinting at either wanting to marry her or wanting to fuck her without marrying her. But, either
Potato,
way.
potato for Helga.
Either one, yeah. And, but they never really resolved that. Like, she just kind of ignored that. And then months later, he's like, "No, seriously, we should get married." And Helga's like, "Oh God, no." And
I love her reaction. It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. At first, her reaction is exactly like that. Like, "Are you serious?
Wait, what?"
You're like, "Fuck no."
Are you? You're not serious. You. Oh my God, you're serious.
And he doesn't quite know what to do about this.
Like, leave her alone, dude. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, but he's like, "What are you what?"
And of course, his reaction is the same as hers. Wait, what?
Exactly.
What? Are you serious? Oh my God, you are serious.
She is utterly baffled that he would ask. He is just as baffled that she would say no.
Oh, so, you know what this is like?
What?
It's like Pride and Prejudice.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, Darcy's proposal. God, why couldn't I think of that word? I couldn't think of that word just now.
Dude.
Darcy's proposal to Elizabeth. Yes, and she's like, "What the fuck?" We're basically and I only know this because of you, because I edited and watched your videos about it. Where he basically says to her, "Hey, even though your family sucks, and I hate them all, and they're garbage people, you want to get married? I won't hold your garbage family against you."
You realize that's my family. He's like, that's my family. I come from that family. He's like, "No, that just shows how amazing you are, because you came from that family and you don't suck. So that just says even more about you, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
Bye.
It's a compliment. Your family is garbage. They're just absolute trash people, but you're great. What? Why are you angry? But yeah, so she's like, "I don't want to marry you." And he's like, "But I'm going to be a great artist." And
I mean, I am a great artist, and I'm going to be an even greater artist.
Right. And if I married you, why, I might be the best artist ever. And Helga's like, nah, not into it.
I'm good.
Not really my thing. Sorry. But he doesn't take no for an answer. And finally, she just says, look, I'm not going to marry you because you're a white guy and I'm a black girl, and it just ain't happening. I'm not into the interracial marriage thing. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. It's going to fuck up my life. It's probably going to fuck up your life. I hate to tell you. And if we have kids, it's not going to be fair to them. Hey, the world sucks. The world is super racist. I don't want to make things worse on myself or on you or on anybody else. So there. And
especially innocent children.
Especially
think
innocent
children, dude.
Think of the children. Won't somebody think of the children? And Axel has this response to that. He says, I have offered you marriage, Helga Crane. And you answer me with some strange talk of race and shame. What nonsense is this? Yes, what nonsense is this, person who has been exhibited like a museum piece the entire time she has lived in this country? You, the only black person apparently in the entire city, not, although we learn soon that she's not, but for now, the only black person we've ever heard spoken about or seen in this city who is gawked at by every other white person who sees her. Yes, how could you possibly have any feelings influenced by race in this perfect, totally not racist country, right? But it says Helga just let that go. She's just like, I'm not even going to talk. I'm not even going to touch it. Just no. The answer is no. We're not getting married. Okay. I'm not marrying you. It's not happening. And, and she also tells him, she says, look, man, you asked me too late. Like maybe if you had asked me a year ago before I had figured a lot of this stuff out, maybe I would have been dumb enough to say yes, but you didn't, and I'm not. So it ain't happening.
Hey, no means no.
No, exactly. No means no. Yeah. And actually I thought it was later in the chapter, but it was earlier. But, while all this is sort of going on, she has, discovered there's a club in town called the Circus where there are other black folks. And it's the first other black people that she's seen in Copenhagen since she's been there. And they are performers. And they are performers in, it's not called this, but what it basically is a minstrel show. It's black performers singing old-fashioned, stereotypically black songs for the entertainment of the white audience. So it's a minstrel show. And Helga is both fascinated and repulsed by this. Repulsed because she immediately sort of recognizes it for what it is and sees that these performers are kind of, humiliating themselves for the entertainment of the public here. But
No. That's
go ahead.
They're not humiliating themselves for the entertainment of the public. They're humiliating themselves for money.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Which comes to them because they are entertaining the public. Yeah. They're getting,
right.
Yeah. They're
and
doing
all, it. But see, and that's the real reason that Helga doesn't like this.
That's true.
Because money.
Because money. How could you do
money? Shouldn't matter. Money shouldn't matter. People should just give you things.
Well, and that and actually I'm glad you brought that up because it ties in with her conversation with Axel, because Axel at one point tells her that he thinks that she thinks like a prostitute. And Helga tells him, I'm not for sale. So, that those complicated feelings about money come up again. But yeah, so she finds herself going back to this club again and again to watch these performers. And as a result of that, and as a result of her sort of disillusionment with Axel, now she starts thinking, maybe I should go back to America, at least to visit. Maybe I definitely shouldn't marry anybody over here until I go back at least once. So within the space of this single chapter, she's gone from reading Anne's letter and going, I'm not going back. Are you crazy? To, well, maybe I'll go back. Just for a visit, just, before I settle down over here, right? I should at least go back and see everybody,
Oh
maybe.
boy.
So yeah, but so Axel finally takes no for an answer and leaves. And she goes out into the hall of the house and looks at the portrait that he painted of her, that Axel Olson painted of her. And she's like, I hate this portrait. Like, this portrait looks nothing like me. And she stops Marie, the housekeeper, in the hall. And she's like, Marie, do you think this is a good picture of me? And Marie's like, no, it's not a good picture of you. She says, Herr Olson is a great artist, but no, I don't like that picture. It looks bad and wicked. Doesn't look anything like you. And Helga's like, yeah, that's what I thought. Doesn't look anything like me. And the chapter ends with the line, yes, anyone with half an eye could see that it wasn't she. So that's the end of chapter 15. So yeah, definitely the portrait of the wicked, mean person. Definitely nothing like Helga.
Me? There couldn't be a problem with me.
Reminds me of did you ever see who? Oh, I can't remember who wrote it now. But the Not I, where it's just the mouth.
Nope.
It's like a stage. It was a dialogue written for the stage. I can't remember who wrote it now. I'm gonna have to look it up. I think it might have been Beckett, Samuel Beckett.
Stop showing off, or the English teacher doesn't know what you're talking about.
Yes, it's Samuel Beckett, and it's performed on stage by an actress who only her mouth is lit. She's dressed all in black, and her face is black face paint, and her lips are done up like really, really bright red. So, and the spotlight is just on her mouth, and it's like just the mouth, and she's delivering this really like rapid fire monologue where she's just talking and talking and talking like without a pause. It's really astonishing. If you see, there's video of it, a couple of different performances of it on YouTube, and it just goes from beginning to end. And I think it lasts maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and it just goes and goes and goes nonstop. It's fantastic. I don't know how anybody can possibly get through it, but many incredible performers have. And the refrain throughout it is she's talking about all kinds of things, and at a lot of different points she's talking about a person with all of these really terrible characteristics, and every once in a while she'll stop, like she's heard somebody say something, and she'll get indignant and she'll go, what? No, not I, she. And like, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about her. Shut up. And that happens over and over again throughout it. And that's kind of like Helga looking at the painting where she's like, yeah, it's definitely not a painting of me. It looks nothing like me. No, I'm not. The cruelty and the badness, and no, nothing like me. Nothing like me. So, but yeah, I found, I think I told you when we talked about it earlier, before we went on the air, my sort of overall thought for these 3 chapters was, here we go again, only slower and with more self-awareness.
Yes.
But the pattern is clearly repeating itself yet again. It's just that she's starting to catch on to it. No, she hasn't gotten out of it. And there's a glimmer of, starting to catch on to it and think, oh man, gee, maybe it is me, but yeah, so those are the chapters we were to talk about tonight. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still interested in where it's going. I'm very intrigued by the little sort of,
the actual character development.
Yes, and the hints of, like maybe she's going to realize, because and the other thing is, I mean, she is in a, she's she's a black person from a deeply racist society that has moved to a better but also deeply racist society that's just racist in a much more polite, hands-off kind of way, but is still, still, as you said, others her for her skin color, just not nearly as brutally. Um, so I mean, it's not like her problems are completely of her own making by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of this that she just has to deal with because of the prejudice that exists in the world. But she's starting to at least show some capability of grasping that the extent that she does contribute to it, because it's not all it's not all the world. Some of it is her. She did.
What?
She is. Yeah, I know, right?
Gasp.
She is superficial. She is fickle. She is moody. She is judgmental. Like, she's all these things, very, very self-involved. And there's the possibility here in these chapters that she's starting to maybe catch on to that. Now, whether or not she will catch on to it enough to make a difference before the book ends, I have no idea.
Because you ain't read the rest of the book yet.
Because I ain't read the book, but it's intriguing. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
Similar. I'm also enjoying the description and the language. It's fun. It's nice reading about all the fancy things, and also thinking about the contrast in the way that her life in Denmark is a different kind of fancy than her life in Harlem, which was also fancy.
True.
So that's fun, and it's nice to sort of watch and observe. It's vicarious. It's. I like that they're not being deliberately mean to each other. Like, she is sort of she's callous and obliviously, I wouldn't even say cruel. And she's, doesn't always get along with people, but she's not mean.
No,
sometimes
she's not
she
deliberately
gets a little
mean,
bit catty, but it's very minor. And I think that's, I've talked before about, I don't like books that are about people being jerks to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like that. And I think we have more than that here. I mean, Helga definitely has, she's vapid. That would be a great word for her.
Yes, I would agree.
And she's it's weird because she's not thoughtless. She's very intelligent, and she thinks about herself a lot, but she doesn't think about herself very deeply. Right. She doesn't examine herself. And so I think that's part of what makes it interesting to me, is that it just does not even occur to her to, I don't know, become a better person. Like, it just doesn't occur. Not, just, just literally just does not cross her radar at all. Just, and I find that amusing. And
oh, and
and it's Ghost Wheel, exactly. She's not self-aware, and
she's
it's interesting because she's so self-absorbed, but she's not self-aware. And that particular juxtaposition is just really intriguing to me. It's like, how can you think about yourself so much and not come up with anything? How? This is really interesting. And Jay, it's that I see that, but at the same time, like, sorry, she never really tries to belong anywhere. You know what I mean? She's got such a high opinion of herself that she doesn't make connections or lasting connections with others. because she is not self-aware, she doesn't have a way to connect with people on any sort of deeper, on any non-superficial level. So that lack of self-awareness is a major factor in not belonging, if that makes sense. I think that's a part of it.
I think it goes back to it's a more specific example of that larger thing that I was talking about, which is that it's not completely her fault, but some of it is her fault, because I think Jay is right. I mean, we do have to acknowledge the fact that she has never felt at home anywhere, accepted anywhere, even in what to us outsiders, to us white folks, we would assume was her own community, which was the Black community. But even within the Black community, she is looked at as outside of the mainstream because she is of mixed heritage. They not everybody, obviously, because it's not a monolith, but a lot of Black folks don't consider her one of them. You know, and so that had an effect on her as well.
I don't think I've got it here. Nope. On the Come Up, which I really liked.
Yeah.
The main character in that has that same sort of experience, because she goes to a private school where she's like the Black kid. But when she's at home in her neighborhood, she's the kid who goes to the rich school. Yeah. So she doesn't fit in either place because of her association with the other place. So yeah.
Kind of
you know what it's like seeing yourself in a picture instead of in a mirror, or seeing yourself on video where it's not mirrored, like on Zoom. I'm seeing it and I'm mirrored. When I watch the video and I'm not mirrored, it's weird. It's so weird. I'm gonna know that. Steve says it comes with time. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I also don't actually watch my own videos because it's weird.
I was just gonna say, because when I first started doing YouTube as like a regular thing, it was weird to me too when I would edit myself, and I'd be like, because you're used to looking at yourself in the mirror, not the way other people see you, and it's a subtle difference. Like it's
uncanny valley.
It's uncanny. It's clearly you, but it's not you the way you're used to seeing yourself. And I've been doing YouTube for so long and editing my videos. And I mean, I'm looking at myself right now because I'm monitoring the stream while I'm talking. And I don't even notice a difference anymore. Like when I look at myself in the mirror, when I look at myself in a camera, like to me now it looks the same. Like I don't even notice a difference. But at the beginning, at the beginning, I definitely noticed a difference. And it was a little off-putting because I wasn't used to seeing myself that way. But now it's completely invisible to me.
Yeah. Similar thing with hearing your voice recorded.
Yes. Is that what I sound like?
Yeah. It's because most of what we hear comes in through the bone, not through the air. But then obviously the recording goes through the air, so it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I found the ostentatious vocabulary. It's actually from the first page of chapter 13. I went right by it when we started our summary tonight. But here's the line. It's from the second paragraph of chapter 13, and it says, "It was pleasant to wake on that first afternoon after the insisted upon nap," which reminded me of you, by the way.
Yes, naps are so
with that sensation of lavish contentment and well-being enjoyed only by impecunious Sybarites waking in the houses of the rich. Impecunious means you ain't got no money, but a Sybarite is one who really enjoys the finer things in life. So that's Helga. Yeah. That is literally Helga. And boy, what a shitty position to find yourself in, unless you happen to have a rich aunt who lives in Denmark. And is willing to let you come stay with her indefinitely. To be an impecunious Sybarite.
I will say that is completely inaccurate.
Oh?
I know exactly what it's talking about, and I've never been an impecunious Sybarite. I guess I do like the finer things in life. But, I've never been in the position of being completely broke and waking up from a nice nap in a super comfy bed. But let me tell you, anytime that I wake up from a nap and I don't have anything immediately on the horizon, I don't have to get up anytime soon. I can just laze about as much as I want to.
Mm-hmm. It's a good feeling.
It's so nice. And you just sort of snuggle in there. And you're just like, I got to do anything.
Like, I could go back to sleep if I wanted to.
And you're like, I kind of do want it because you're still a little bit snoozy. You're like, I could just go back to sleep. And you're like, but I'm so enjoying just being nestled in the covers, and they're all kind of they've cocooned around you. It's so nice. Okay, so we need to end the stream because I'm ready to go to bed.
Okay, I thought
we're
maybe
talking about being, or you notice I've yawned a couple of times.
And with the yawn earlier, yeah.
Like,
so
I'm thinking about how comfortable the bed is.
So
and the covers all snuggled up in the pillow.
Well, let's get you to bed as quickly as possible then, shall we? For next time, in 2 weeks, we'll be back to read chapters 16, 17, and 18. So just the next 3 chapters. And let's not forget, first of all, let's not forget the charity links, charitylinks.page. So if you have
for those for our fellows who are also impecunious,
for our impecunious friends who would like to have some pecuniary improvement, yes,
who appreciate some of the necessary things in life.
Yes, who are not.
They ain't even got to be like super duper fancy.
They are not necessarily cyberites.
Honestly, let's be real. We all appreciate some of the finer things in life. You know, each person's a little bit different.
Indeed. Ghost Wheel wins, by the way. They said, I thought the cyberites were in Hellraiser. My hat off to you, my friend. That is some fine, that's some fine work right there. But anyway, charitylinks.page, it's linked down in the description. If you can help out some friends of ours who need a helping hand, we would really appreciate it. Also, don't forget that Dana has her very own YouTube channel where she makes awesome videos that you should all watch. And do what?
Leave me a comment, pretty please. You can like and subscribe if you want. I mean, I really don't, I won't complain. But comments are where it's at.
Leave her comments, people. Leave her comments, please.
Please.
Is it so bad to see somebody happy? And let me see. We'll be back on Wednesday to watch episode 7, I think, of Hilda for Trek Actually. And then a week from tonight, I will be back to do the next Ask Away live stream. So if you are a patron or a member, look for the link to submit questions ahead of time to be posted on Monday. And then next Friday will be Ask Away. And if you are not a patron or a member, you can become one, either going to patreon.com/Steve Shives or by clicking the join button.
Thing where you do the thing where it puts it on the thing?
No, it's not. I don't do that one on this one.
Oh, okay. Are you going to put it in the description?
It's in the description, though. It's in the description.
Okay.
It's in the description. Patreon.com/Steve Shives. Patreon.com/Steve Shives if you want to help me out. And anything, I mean, $1 a month is splendid. $5 a month is even better, but $1 a month is fantastic. But yeah. Anyway.
Have you heard about the pastor who said, we accept all denominations at our church, but our favorite is the $20 bill.
Oh, that greedy pastor. You know, at least he's out front with it. I can respect that.
Yes. I mean, it really only works as a pastor joke. I mean, let's be real. Everybody except Helga likes money.
And Helga likes spending it on stuff.
The stuff. No, Helga doesn't even like spending it. Helga likes the stuff that money can get her.
That's true. If you can get her the stuff without giving her the money, she'll take the stuff.
Yep. It's
no
all
problem.
Good. Just give me the stuff that I like.
Yeah, you don't want to give me
very much.
You don't want to give me the money, give me the stuff.
There you go.
A deal.
Everybody's happy. You don't have to give me any money. Ta-da! We all win.
You keep the money, I keep the stuff. You see, this is perfect. This is the arrangement. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for reading along with us. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you and good night.